So, Blizzard just filed a lawsuit against Project Ascension. And I know this news is a couple weeks old, but the reason I'm making this video now is because I didn't want to make the video back then and just regurgitate the same thing that everyone else was doing during the hype cycle. So what I did is I took some time. I really researched this, and what I hope to present to you in this video is the absolute best information possible so that you have an idea of what's going on with it. And that's what I'm going to cover in this video. Before we do actually get into it, I want to point out that I'm not a lawyer. I am a husband, I'm a dad, I am a longtime World of Warcraft player who has watched this community go through private servers, Classic, Season of Discovery, Turtle WoW, Ascension, and now this whole Classic Plus question. And if you're a busy adult MMO player trying to keep up with WoW, make sure you give me a sub. And here's the thing I think a lot of people are going to miss. This lawsuit is not really about whether Ascension was creative. It clearly was. The real question is whether creativity protects you when you build on someone else's client, someone else's assets, and then monetize it. And that's the uncomfortable part. Because as players, we like what these servers represent. And we also still understand why Blizzard's going to swing the hammer. So first, what actually happened? Blizzard Entertainment filed a civil lawsuit on June 12, 2026 in the Central District of California. The case is Blizzard Entertainment versus Powell et al. Case number 826CV01506. PacerMonitor lists the nature of the suit as copyright, with the cause as copyright infringement. The complaint is 51 pages long, and it names multiple individuals and business entities connected, according to Blizzard, to Project Ascension. The claims include copyright infringement, inducement to infringe copyrights, contributory copyright infringement, vicarious copyright infringement, DMCA violations, intentional interference with contractual relations, false designation of origin, and 2 civil RICO claims, the same law used to take down the mob. That is not a soft letter. That is not like, hey guys, I need you to shut it down. That is Blizzard saying, we believe this is organized, commercial, ongoing infringement. Now, that word alleges matters. This is Blizzard's complaint. It is not a final ruling. It is not a judgment. It is Blizzard's side of the case. And if you're going to report this honestly, you have to say that. This is where the internet coverage, I think, usually gets pretty stupid. One side says Blizzard is evil, let the people have fun. And then the other side says private servers are theft. End of story. And they're just like licking the boat. But the reality is a lot more interesting than just that. Because Ascension is not just a normal vanilla realm. Ascension became popular because it offered something Blizzard does not officially offer. Classless WoW, Classic Plus on their Bronzebeard servers. You build characters by like mixing abilities in some of their servers or dropping into parts of the map. It's like a modded version of the game. That's why people cared. And that's why this stings for some players, the people that liked the game. Ascension was not just copying the exact old experience, it was experimenting with that old experience. And that is exactly why this case is so messy emotionally for players, even if Blizzard's legal position is pretty obvious and like it was almost definitely infringement, in my opinion. Section 2. This is what Blizzard claims. Blizzard's core claim is that the defendants allegedly operated Project Ascension by distributing a modified WoW client and running unauthorized emulated servers. In the complaint, Blizzard alleges that Project Ascension offered access to unauthorized private WoW servers, along with software and tools needed to access those servers, including modified copies of WoW software. Blizzard also claims users could play without a licensed copy of the game, without a Blizzard account, and without paying Blizzard's subscription fees. That's the heart of the case. Not they made a cool idea, not they had classless gameplay. The claim is they used Blizzard's protected game client, their intellectual property, their assets, their systems, their trademarks, to create an unauthorized product. Blizzard also says that Project Ascension claimed to have over 1 million players, which, like, those are great numbers, if we're being honest. And that users could download the Ascension client, make an Ascension account, and connect to multiple Ascension servers across the world. Again, that is Blizzard's allegation, and I'm pretty sure that allegation is true. But if you're Blizzard, that scale matters. A tiny private server in somebody's basement is like one thing. A massive, polished, advertised, monetized project with its own launcher, its own support, its own Discord, its own store, and over 1 million claimed players is something else entirely. And for busy dad gamers, people like you, people like me, this is where the adult part of the conversation kicks in. Because we all understand the appeal of a better version of the thing that we love. We also understand that once money enters the room, everyone kind of starts acting differently. And this is probably the most important part of the lawsuit. Blizzard is not only saying Ascension existed, Blizzard is saying Ascension made money. And bro, they had their own cash shop in the game. Like they're making money. According to the complaint, Blizzard alleges Project Ascension was free to play, and it was, but only in name. And it operated for profit, though, through donation points. Blizzard says players could buy donation points for like 50 cents each, with bonus points for purchases over $15, and then trade those points for in-game items like mounts, pets, cosmetic gear. Blizzard further alleges that the defendants made millions of dollars from donation points, and that funds were collected through corporate entities for the benefit of the named defendants. That is a huge distinction right there. And I went in the internet, I Googled all the legal lawyer jargon. The old private server defense has always been something like, oh, we're just fans, we're preserving the game, we're doing what Blizzard won't. And emotionally, I think a lot of players sympathize with that. And I do. I sympathize with that too, to a specific degree. But once you add a shop, donation currency, which is just like buying tickets at a carnival or something, and then saying, "Oh, we're not selling the prizes. We're giving people the prizes for tickets, but they just bought the tickets with me." You see what I'm talking about? I don't think you're just preserving something that you made or being a fan anymore. You're building a business next to Blizzard's house and using Blizzard's lumber to build that business. That's why Blizzard is framing it that way, because it's what's happening. And look, I get why players don't like hearing that, because the uncomfortable truth is that some private servers have delivered ideas that players wanted before Blizzard did. Nostalrius helped prove the demand for Classic. We might not even have Classic right now if it wasn't for private servers. Turtle WoW showed us there was a hunger for a slower, expanded, vanilla-style world. The whole reason they have Bronzebeard on Ascension is because of Turtle WoW. Ascension showed us that classless WoW wasn't just a meme, that there was a minority of the population that want it. So when Blizzard shuts these projects down, a lot of players feel like innovation is being punished. PC Gamer did a report on this as well that I found, and made a similar point in a recent column, arguing that while Blizzard may have the legal right to shut down private servers, those servers also show the kind of community-driven experimentation that the MMO genre lacks across the board, not just WoW. That right there is the true tension, in my opinion. Legally, Blizzard may have every reason to protect its IP, and it should. Creatively, though, players are looking at these private servers and saying, why are unpaid fans or a random server operator in the middle of Russia or Uzbekistan giving me the version of WoW I actually want, but Blizzard Entertainment can't do it? And that is the part Blizzard can't just lawsuit away. Now, let's talk about the part that made everyone's eyebrows go up. I mentioned it at the beginning, RICO. Blizzard included claims for participation in a RICO enterprise and RICO conspiracy under federal law. If you were following the Turtle WoW thing, they hit them with this exact same RICO clause there. It sounds dramatic because it is dramatic. I don't want to overstate it. A RICO claim is a civil complaint. Does not mean that anybody's yet been criminally convicted. It does not mean that the case is already proven. It means Blizzard is trying to frame the alleged operation that these dudes are running as an organized enterprise engaged in repeated unlawful activity. Just a reminder, RICO is the same law that they used to take down the mob. And whether that survives in court is a separate question. But from a messaging standpoint, Blizzard is clearly trying to say this is not a fan project. This is organized commercial infringement, like organized criminal activity. Blizzard also alleges that Ascension used bulletproof servers associated with something called the Aeza Group. The U.S. Treasury sanctioned the Aeza Group in 2025, saying it supported cyber criminal activity by selling infrastructure designed to help bad actors evade detection and resist disruption. That does not automatically prove Ascension did everything Blizzard claims, but it explains why Blizzard included that specific detail. They're trying to paint a picture of a deliberate concealment, not just like an innocent fan server. So what is Blizzard asking for? In the complaint, Blizzard asks the court to stop the defendants from infringing Blizzard's copyrights, contributing to infringement, trafficking in circumvention devices, and interfering with Blizzard's player contracts. More directly, Blizzard asked the court to require the defendants to shut down Project Ascension, the Ascension servers, and any similar copy hosted anywhere. Blizzard also asked for the delivery of infringing materials and accounting of all money that was collected, damages, costs, and attorney fees. So yes, Blizzard's trying to kill the project. They're not trying to regulate it or license it or ask nicely. They're shutting it down, they're asking to shut it down, asking to account for all the money, and asking them to pay for all of the damages. That's what they're asking. This also does not happen in isolation. I've alluded to it a few times in this video. Earlier this year, Turtle WoW announced it would shut down after Blizzard's legal action. PC Gamer reported back. PC Gamer's just been killing it with like the reporting lately, if I'm being honest. They reported that Blizzard won an injunction against Turtle WoW, and GamesRadar reported that Turtle WoW and Stormforge, which was a separate private server, were set to shut down by May 14th, 2026, after Blizzard's legal pressure. So Ascension looks like part of a larger pattern. Blizzard appears to be moving aggressively against major private server projects, especially the ones that are large, visible, modified, and specifically the ones that are monetized, the ones that are making money. I don't think that Blizzard like has to copy these servers, but I think that they're going after it because Classic Plus is going to be taking up the same emotional space, the same kind of like theory crafting kind of games that these games are already taking up. So I think they're trying to clear all that space for them to announce and launch something that is very similar, like a Classic Plus. And if you made it this far, drop a comment with your honest take. Do you think Blizzard is protecting WoW, or do you think Blizzard is killing the most creative part of the Classic community? I really want to know. Put it down in the comments below. This is my final take, though. So this is my read of the situation. The Ascension lawsuit is not just about one server. It is Blizzard sending a signal. If you run a major private WoW server, they're going to come after you. And they're going to come after you in a very serious way. They're not going to treat you like some weird little fan project. They're going to treat you like a competitor. And they're going to hold you personally, financially liable. That message is obvious. Another message that's obvious to me is a lot of old school WoW players don't just want a museum anymore. We want them to iterate upon this. I think this is actually a positive thing for the community, or a positive sign for the community rather, because them going after this further asserts my belief that Classic Plus is real and it's going to be coming out. And if you want more grounded coverage of WoW Classic Plus like this, private servers, all MMOs really, and framed in a way that matters for people like you, people like me, people with kids, jobs, wives, the whole thing, subscribe, because that's all I do. That's all I cover here. And I'm going to be in this for the long haul. I'm going to be making content for years. Trying to quit my day job, man. That's where I'm going to. So like, comment, it really does help. And if you want to become a channel member, it costs like $1.99 or something, and it means a lot if you do. Anyway, catch you guys in the next one. See ya.